Hey, fam, welcome back to another episode of I'm Telling You.
I'm telling you.
That was nice. A little twist on that. That's pretty dope. Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Quickly crack of a CD.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to us, ITY at directionsinmusic.org. That'll get any one of us. We can, hit us up. We'll totally get back at you.
Or you could hit the two of us up separately at Philly D, PHILLYD. Or you do mine then.
GMINI, Gemini. You got to do the robot.
At directionsinmusic.org.
Yeah, .org.
Well, you got to finish it all up.
And there you go. Yeah, for first-time listeners, this is a 30-year friendship of... You do it this time. I always do it. I'm tired of carrying you. You do.
30-year friend. Why you care? It's your intro. I don't know. You
This
put this thing together, all right? You did.
I see how it is. Just because I talked you into it, this is my doing.
It kind of is. I mean...
That's so narcissistic of you.
How, what?
Oh, yeah, but no, for real. This is...
Just chopping it up.
Yeah, but do you honestly, 30 years of us like talking crap on each other, like we really have been. I mean, think about it. But, respectfully, I guess, I don't know. Typically, we leave each other's moms out of it, so it's...
See, I don't know. I think the S talking is just like, it's like the seasoning on the entree. That's just... It's the same thing. Like, if it happens to be funny, that's just a bonus. But it's, going through old times, we try to keep it light. That's a lovely looking beer you got there.
Dude, did I not pour that thing immaculately or what?
As you came off the...
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm just watching him pour this
So
beer.
everybody at home who can't see this, I literally just poured myself a beer, but I poured it in a fashion where I had the appropriate amount of froth on top and everything. Like, this was an absolutely immaculate pour.
A Belgian wit.
With real citrus. Well, yeah, it's got it. So it has the orange and lime already added into it. So yeah, so it's basically like your standard wit where you would add the orange slice or something, but it's already in there.
It's in there.
Yeah, it's like Prego. It's in there.
It's in there. It's the flavor is always reminiscent. Usually in a wit that you have, it's just the combination of the things you put in there, but you can accentuate by adding,
the Belgian wheat, which is the wit. So using wheat,
like most of them call for coriander, which tends to give like a spicy, orangey flavor.
Well, but that's my thing is like when you're using the wheat, you actually get very much like a bright aspect of the bread grain. So you don't get like that hearty or earthy like grain, like that tone to it. You get the other end of it where it's more of like that sour, tart, that really top sweetie kind of part, like almost like the sourdough aspect. So you start to kind of like get into there. So a little bit of spice like coriander would complement, I feel.
And it does. But yeah, and most of them do have a flavor of citrus of some sort, but some people like to accentuate it with us. So you could still put a slice of orange on that. It'd be delish.
Oh, it's already in there. I don't have to. This is a one and done, bro.
It's in there.
Oh, it's also aged too, because this is like an older one. It's a little volatile upon opening, but it's very mellowed out. It's rather enjoyable.
Like explosive volatile?
Slightly overcarbonated volatile.
Huh.
Little extra on it.
Were you keeping it cold?
No, it's just, dude, it's like, it's legit like probably 6 or 8 months old already.
No, but so even from a refrigerated state, it still did that?
It's been cellar temp on average.
Okay.
At max.
Yeah.
So yeah, it hasn't been refrigerated as standard storage. I don't know. Yeah. I'm going to say, approximately 60 degrees at the most.
Because, gas is under pressure.
With the gases. It's so gassy.
When there's a raise in temperature.
There's raisins with temperature?
The things.
Is that why?
Are you making fun of the way I talk?
A little bit. But I can be honest about it.
Stop making fun of me.
They're all going to laugh at you.
They're all going to laugh at you. Oh, no. They're all going to laugh at him.
Oh, man. I really have to, I love the fact that we've been very comical lately. Yeah, I made mention in the warm-up in the green room how we, the past few episodes, we've actually been like ending it with us cracking up. I was re-listening to, I think, a Green Room episode from a few weeks ago, where she's like, she's laughing so hard that she starts to like mute herself. You know what I mean? It's like that in between laugh where you're laughing so hard you
Like
go silent.
I can't.
But it's like just enough in the background where you can hear you and I tapering off, and then she kind of like pops out just a little bit from that like I can't breathe laughing. And I'm like trying to drive. Oh, dude, it cracks me up.
Can't even breathe.
Well, I going to how when we first started doing this, again, being that kid with the first, Christmas gift and just never having this thing to play with before. And it's just like, oh my God. And we really supported.
He's talking about the equipment, like the microphones and stuff.
No, I'm talking overall. No, like legit, like overall, the fact that when we first started recording, you and I were very much celebratory of the fact of, I've never had an RC car before. This was my first RC car I ever got on Christmas Day kind of a thing, right? So the first time I got a Cabbage Patch Kid or freaking, a stack of Pokemon cards, like whatever the deal is. This is like, oh my God, I've never had this. And we really celebrated that fact. And in doing that, we came across, like we really started to have these very in-depth conversations, almost as if we had been lacking in doing so. And we really wanted to support the idea of this is what it was to record us. Once we figured out it was about the conversation, right? It wasn't us just recording ourselves so we can come back and make jokes of it. But now we're actually more so at this place where there still is this, as we call it, sincerity, right? Because we're being sincerious.
Sincerious, yeah.
Yeah, so there's sincerity. I don't know. How do you conjugate that?
Sincerity,
but
it's just sincerious. That's all.
We start to really, at least for my perception is, we're really starting to celebrate this idea of having this open, honest communication where we can be very comical while also being very in depth and honest and providing what I feel, again, something of a service, because we are bringing some education. Thank you to Miss JD. But well, and the
when
fact
we get
that,
things right, somebody can actually sit here and check us and improve.
And I think the amount of laughter that we've been recording lately really solidifies that kind of idea that we have brought this level of sincerity, right? This honesty and impeccable nature where we're holding ourselves accountable for what we say. However, on top of it, a little bit of whipped cream and cherry and sprinkles and everything else, there's definitely that edge of comedy. So coming from where we were originally, where it was very much about like, hey, let's be very serious in depth, like let's just get into it. Since we've let it settle a little, as we've, as it's transpired, we've now really kind of come into this place where
That's another one of my words.
Yeah. And again, this is the thing, like we're having this serious conversation. Like I'm expressing myself and being very sincere, there's some sinceriousness in this. And yet there's still that comical nature, and it's totally expected. It's completely appreciated, and it really adds to the overall moment. And I think we've really started to settle into that, and I'm appreciative of it. Like, honestly, I look forward to every week when we get the chance to sit down and record. Whenever
I like to see how it's neat to look back too and see how it's changed. You were saying before about like the old sound quality wasn't as good, but the content was still like right on point from the very beginning.
Right on the first series.
Because like you said, we still had that new toy. It was a very new toy at that point. Like we didn't even read the directions yet in the owner's manual.
We're like looking at it like the battery's going this way. No, flip them around.
Yeah, we just tore into it.
We don't even care.
Stuff's all hooked up wrong. It's like put on backwards, like the head's on the butt.
It's not lighting. Why is it not lighting?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this. It's blinking.
Yeah. What is two red dots mean?
One of them goes out. They all go out.
Oh, that was
now they're all blinking.
Nice. That was a good one.
The 12 things I hate about Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, there's.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I wanted I know to cut you off, but like before we really get it deep in the conversation, I wanted to say that
Or we start making fun of each other too much.
No,
Go ahead.
we've been listening to the guy that has the program before us, Larry.
Oh, the Larry K
Mr.
program.
Larry K, yeah.
Or Larry K show, I
Larry
believe
K
is
show.
if I'm to quote correctly.
And I got to say, I was apprehensive at first, but it's
His musical choices.
he's got some really good musical choices. Like he's
Right.
all over the map.
Dude, you know what else I like about him? Is the fact that he does what I would want to do if I was like a DJ or something. He adds those little tidbits of information.
Yeah.
You know, those little side pieces where it's like the old school cats like you and I, when we would buy the vinyl or the, cassette or the CD, whatever, we would literally buy it, open it up, and then open up the cover and then start seeing who produced what track, the different pieces, who thanked who.
I just have to say though, I mean, is he new to the audio world? Like as far as
So I found out he
Being on the
used to
mic.
be, if I'm correct in this, he was in the Navy and he was a DJ back in the day.
Okay.
On ship, if I'm recalling correctly. So yeah, he definitely has some experience in this, and this is obviously a
I was
passion.
going to say, because it didn't seem like, I mean, he seems uncomfortable. Like he had to warm into it at first, but
well,
I mean, he seems a little bit more comfortable.
I
every
think
time
he's just
listen.
getting back to it. Yeah, but he settled in real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's dude, his musical choices, the stuff that he talks about. I mean, like there's random facts and then there's like pertinent random facts. I feel his are very pertinent. So it's not only entertaining to listen to, but it's also educational, and I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to him because,
Yeah, dude, apparently he listens to us too. So like when he finishes his show,
that's sweet.
he sticks around and like clocks in and listens to us right after.
Then he'll get to hear, he'll get to hear us talk about
because
it is kind of exciting, like because he mentions it and he keeps it quick. But hey,
well, if you notice, he one of his things that he always says about to us is he uses the word antics because that's like one of our common words when we're trying to express what it is that you and I do. So we usually say
it's a 3-ring circus. Really, I mean it's
probably
really
17 ring circus. Let's be honest. There's more than just 3. We got a lot going on over here.
I mean, and that works out because there's overlap. If there's a mistake in one of the rings, you're like, don't look over there. It's all right.
It was easy. If I had something over in this ring that made me forget about this ring, what, like 2 elephants and a jackal? Oh yeah, that's the ring I'm watching.
You're robbing me.
Ow! Breaking my arm.
Oh no, I'm robbing you. That's what. Beverly Hills Cop 2. 1, 2.
Yeah, I want to say 2.
2.
Yeah, 2. Dose. Yeah, because that was Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert Godfrey.
Fact check.
Oh, jeez.
Which Beverly Hills Cop? Because it was either the first or the second, but I want to say it was the second that Gilbert Godfrey was in. Yeah, I want to say second.
Oh, so Beverly Hills Cop, the first one, quote.
Oh, we're playing this game again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, quick
quote.
Yeah, quick recap. Us warming up in the green room earlier, like, I was drinking, you were not. You had tea. I was, like, drinking tequila and beers and stuff. We started playing this instant quote of, like, what is your go-to instant quote? Like, don't think about it.
Like, what's the first one that comes to mind when you hear a movie title?
So Beverly Hills Cop. Oh man, dude, it's a toss up between. Because I mean, honestly, I would say then the go to would be because I typically quote on the show is, "This is not my office."
Yeah,
because he was
damn right, it's not your office.
Well, yeah, because it was his partner was in the office pretending to be their captain, so that when the captain of the Beverly Hills department calls to talk to the other captain to check credentials and see everything's cool, he calls his buddy instead, who's in the captain's office, does the phone call, hangs up, and then the captain comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, this is not my office." And you're damn right, it's not your office. Yeah, that's probably my go-to. That and I absolutely love, because I think the scene in and of itself, out of context, the movie, straight standalone, I ain't falling for no banana in the tailpipe.
I was just gonna say, I'm not falling for a banana in my tailpipe.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that.
He's like, what does he say? You say this all too well. He's like, you've been hanging out with this guy. Well, I'm not falling for any banana in the tailpipe. He's like, you gotta say it really right. It's like, hey, falling for no with banana in the tailpipe, man. He like puts this like great like accent on it and just
say it with some bass.
Yeah, right. Some attitude in there, and then, well, I'm not falling for anyone. I don't know the tailpipe. I'm like, geez, God, yeah, dude, with that kind of sound, you're totally falling for banana in the tailpipe, and more than a few times. Let's be honest.
Oh my goodness, what was that?
But yeah, I want to say, did you? Oh, it is. She's throwing up the deuce. Deuce. Yeah, okay. So it was in the second one. Gilbert Gottfried was. Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure the second one was also where he goes to like crack the warehouse or whatever, and he's like, "Yo, I'm here from MTV." He's like, "Yo, you like rap music?" "Yeah, I like rap music." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want to sing a song for me?" He's like, "Yeah." Say, "Oh baby, oh baby." And he's like, "Ow!" And then he like clocks him on the head, knocks him out.
Say, "Ow!"
Oh, dude, I love me
Get
some
up
Eddie
off
Murphy.
Of that floor.
Dude, Eddie Murphy's dope.
Yeah.
What was that laugh for? That sounded very menacing.
Like Golden Child.
See, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, all right, so Eddie Murphy, when he got to that era of starting to do like family movies and stuff.
Oh wait, what's the quote from that?
What's that?
Golden Child. Boom.
Quote from Golden Child?
First one.
I want the knife. Let him ask again.
I want the knife.
Yeah, give me the knife.
Please.
Yeah, have the knife. Please. Let him ask again.
It was like, I want the knife.
Yeah, right.
Let him ask again.
What are you, Monty Hall?
Yeah, that's always the next one. We're just going to rub that on your jacket, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the frozen booger. And
all right, so is it my turn yet? Or are you going to throw on it, JD?
Well, I mean, you're the one that started playing this game, bro. I don't know. Like, I have any choice.
I don't know
what's
as many
going.
movies as you guys. Quotables.
That's all right.
Well, we picked really, really popular ones, though.
Dude, I don't think Golden Child is all that popular, bro.
No?
I'm going to be honest. In our group,
I guess, I don't know.
old movie heads from like the 70s and 80s, yeah. So our people, but like outside of that, not really.
Like, I did just watch the NeverEnding Story like a couple months ago. I like to rotate just like you, rotate through the old movies.
Yeah, man.
I don't have them all.
What's the horse's name?
I have them all.
Wait, Atreyu was the
Indian or the traveler.
The kid's name.
Yeah, he was the one that was chosen to. Oh, come on, bro. You got the nothing.
It's in there somewhere.
You have Atreyu.
Atreyu.
Yeah. What's the luck
That's the
dragon?
only thing that comes to mind too.
A Falcor.
Okay, there you go, Falcor. So then, what's the horse's name? Oh, he's still. Oh, come on.
And the poor horse had to die for the kid too.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Growing
that was
up,
the Swamp of Desperation or something.
Well, yeah. So that was the irony
Swamp of Sorrows. I can't remember.
Something
what
like
it was.
that. Yeah.
Something. Look it up. I don't know.
But growing up, having seen that movie, being like, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something, right? Like literally watching the movie and witnessing the actor's portrayal of the pain of losing his horse, his faithful steed, his best friend, seeing him. Yeah, see, he's almost there. Dude,
just keep talking because it gives me a chance to think.
Yeah, because you can see him. He's in the swamp and he's pulling the reins and he's yelling at him.
Because you're killing me right now.
And he calls him a dumb horse. Does the fact checker have this? Yeah, see, I was like, which one's going to get it first? All right. Go ahead, tell him. Horse.
Artax.
Huh? Artax. Was it? What was it again?
Artax. Artax.
Artax, yeah.
No, I think he's pronounced it Artex.
Artex?
Yeah, like the A is an E.
Okay.
Which I think would be traditional, if that's correct. Yeah, I think it was more of an E, but yeah. It was like almost like the X was relatively silent because it would kind of like fade off, but yeah. Yeah, he's like yelling at him in the swamp, and it's like, dude, he's crying, and then he starts to swear at him, basically calling him a dumb horse, right?
Well, yeah, and
it's a great psychological study watching.
Oh, the whole
dude, the rationalization,
montage,
like watching it go through the steps.
He's like covered in sooty mud, like black mud.
Yeah, dude, you try to rationalize it. You deny it, and then you accept it, and then you can literally watch him go through the stages of like mourning.
What did he call? What was the name of the turtle?
Oh, what the old tortoise, the big ass?
Yeah,
the elder.
Yeah, the one that like sneezed on him.
Yeah. Oh, he was the last of the kind for his.
I got it.
Ancient one.
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm not.
He was the ancient one, I think.
Morla, Morla.
Or she was, yeah.
Yeah, Morla. Yeah, that sounds right. Wow. See, look at you. She's like, dude, I saw her. She was apprehensive, but she's like, I don't want to pronounce stuff. Why you guys keep making me do this? This is the worst part. It's like the one thing in her job that she hates is pronouncing. I don't know how to pronounce this. What the hell? Keep making me do
when
this.
When that movie came out, though, those special effects were awesome.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, you can still enjoy them today, but I mean, it's obviously puppetry, and it was fairly obvious then, but it just, it's only because we've come so far with computer animation.
I feel there's a very fairy tale aspect to it, almost like Princess Bride, where you get that sense of, if I was reading the story and imagining this world around me as I become literally engulfed in what I'm reading, this is what it would look like. So I feel there's very much that fairy tale kind of representation. So I think it's very, even to this day, very apt. Like, it's just like that. That's an appropriate representation. I think it still holds up.
Well, and it really got to that, like at that age, like the kids getting chased, right in the beginning of the movie, the kid gets like chased and beat up for his lunch money, like nearly every day. Because
he like ducks into the dumpster.
Because he has to go like 8 blocks to catch the bus or whatever it is. It kind of speaks to that like loser little kid in all of us, that fear that, that you'll be that guy. I mean, so I mean, as a kid, like I always connected with that because, maybe I was a little overweight or whatever, and I was self-conscious about stuff. So you really identify with the character. So right off the bat, you get hooked on this character, and he goes into this, like you said, this magical other place by reading a book. And what's the whole purpose of the movie? It's the imagination. Like as long as you have imagination, as long as you have that seed.
See, and I took it as long as you have hope, as long as you believe, as long as you understand the idea that for every ending, there is only a beginning.
She did say hope. But
so I
we
got
write
more
the stories is what, that's why it's never ending, because the story is the reality, is the story is the reality.
Yeah, and I mean, drawing back on it, retrospect wise, it's very much what your perception does, because it's every time you read a story, the story changes. The words are still the same. However, your perception of how you ingest the information.
But the story itself isn't even important.
Well, that's exactly because I think we were talking about this a few weeks back, where it was you brought up the whole point of being in this, I forget how you worded it, but my counter was the fact that when you finally are in this place emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, like all of the things come together, the trifecta of the moment where you can see everything as it happens. You can perceive it. You can literally be a part of it. And, you could have been possessing that ability the whole time, but it wasn't until this moment itself came about that it allowed for this transcendent time that, you had to have all the dominoes fall into place in a sense. And, you can hear the same story again and again. You can read it again and again. But as you change, you're going to perceive differently. You're going to draw completely. But
think about the NeverEnding Story, and there was a lot of really deep moments in that movie, and it wasn't just for little kids,
dude, especially for like a 9-year-old.
There was a lot of messages in that movie that were very positive.
Like, dude, you literally had to deal with death of your best friend, which is almost like you yourself dying because it's a counterpart. But here you are, 9 years old, and you got to like rationalize this. Yeah, dude, that movie's like.
Well, I was thinking about the scene.
It's like Labyrinth almost.
thinking about the scene where Atreyu has to go through the different challenges, right? He has to go through the different, levels in order to make it.
Yeah, he's got to get it past like the two guards. Like Falcor takes him up into the clouds or whatever. And he sees the medicine man and he gets him like healthier. And then he has to walk
go
out
through
amongst
the oracle.
Yeah.
The two oracles. And then what was it? The snowy place, the mirror. He had to view.
Yeah, isn't that where he sees
I forget the name of the place that he had to go to now, but
I know there's so much. Dude.
So basically, like
You're making me want to rewatch this right now.
He would be looking
I
into
know.
his greatest. He would be looking into his greatest fear, and it's taken many men, even tougher than you are, that still haven't made it through. That it shows you it shows you what you're really afraid of, and then it basically shows him that he is that boy reading the story, and that boy is him.
And so, to me, the one
with
part.
both,
Go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, with both of those movies reference the Labyrinth and the NeverEnding Story, both of them deal with challenges of self-confidence, courage, and
Yeah, that was the correlation that made it in my mind.
Right.
empathy. Yeah, and they both deal with the chance of luck, wishes, and certain powers too. In
So noble virtues,
imagine-
basically.
Well, and so that goes back to the point I was about to make, where he, Atreyu has to go through the two guardians, where you have to be, pure of heart, without fear and all that kind of stuff.
You can't question yourself at all. If you question yourself, then
Yeah, and there were so many
zapped by a
amazing
laser.
Yeah, there's all these amazing warriors that you can see strewn about that basically were not true of virtue in that sense. They weren't pure in their thoughts, and they're dead. And he had to make it through there. So here are these brazen men who have been through so much. So elders,
All
30
their
years
shiny
old or
armor,
whatever else.
and they're
And you have this kid who is literally without possession. He's wearing freaking pelts, basically, right?
I think he's got a hunting knife or something like that. That's
Yeah, but
about
he's
it.
he's got his loincloth and all that kind of stuff. So he's barely covered. He's very minimalist. He's also
He had a little, pants in his shirt, but I mean, it was.
Yeah, but very minimal. I mean,
Minimalist,
he looked like a Native American. He looked like he was a hunter-gatherer type. But, civilized enough that he knows to cover his niblets and stuff. But he's also a child. So here are these adults that can't do it because they're of this realm where they can question themselves too much, so they're not pure enough. And he's still innocent enough that he can make it through, even though we know going up to it, he's questioning himself. He's hesitant. You can see it. They portray this very well. And yet when he finally decides to go through it, he's 100%. And I think there's a lesson in that about what the purity or innocence of being a child and not having all that negativity in you, allowing yourself to be jaded by what everything or anything
You're saying
thinks.
Atreyu as a child?
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as his tribe was considered, he wasn't a child.
Well, correct. But I'm talking in comparison
And that's
of,
the interesting thing, because he was already a man, and he was actually a hunter. That's why they sought him out.
he was the greatest
He was the greatest hunter.
of all of that land
Right.
that he represented. But that's the thing, is he's still 10, 12, not 30. So he's a child in
I don't know
comparison.
if I put him that young, but I mean,
Pretty much, yeah.
I thought they cast him a little bit older than that, but
I don't think so.
I would say for the purpose
he was under 16 for sure.
for the purpose of the hero's journey, I would say probably 13, and having
Yeah.
to face all these things that.
Having to face himself, not even these things, but himself as well.
Well, that's what the whole journey is about, though. It really is about
He was a
self-discovery.
green-skinned warrior from the grassy ocean. It said that
Fantasia?
Atreyu was a green-skinned.
Fantastica.
Fantastica.
I think it's Fantasia.
It's Fantasia.
I'm pretty sure it's Fantasia.
No,
Totally.
it's
It says
Fantastica.
Fantastica. I don't know if that's a typo.
No, it's Fantasia.
No, it's not, because it even said that Marla was a fantastic end.
Dude, it's
not a Fantasian.
Yeah, maybe it might be the alternate space. Dude, it's Fantasia.
It's all right. We don't need to.
Oh, dude, no, bro. This is 2-1. Democracy wins. It's Fantasia.
We don't need to argue about it, though. It's all right.
Wait, is this the Mandela effect? Where it's like,
Fantasia's Disney.
I'm just saying, like, yo, do you know about the Mandela effect, right?
Well, we're more than one person.
They're spelled differently, first of all.
No,
wait. I know I've heard this before.
JD, do you know what the Mandela effect is? So the Mandela effect, to paraphrase, is the expression of either a misrepresentation of past information or a modified timeline giving an alternate representation that we're not remembering. So this goes back to our conversation with Vic, where if you were to jump around these timelines, would your mind remember these different memories? And it's like you would remember the stuff that you were a part of, but not the alternate components. And we use like Back to the Future as like the thing where he comes back and sees family photos and he's like, I don't remember that trip to Disney. What the hell is that crap? Right? Mm-hmm. But it's a, where was I going with this? What were we just talking?
I don't know. That's what I'm still trying to figure out, but it's.
But no, what were like literally, what were just like, what was right before that? What
we're talking.
I've been drinking tequila and beer. Come on.
Atreyu.
With Fantasia and the Mandela effect. We're talking Mandela. The Mandela effect. So in the Mandela effect, that is the thing. So the story that causes the call the Mandela effect is we as, children of the 70s and the 80s are aware of Nelson Mandela, right? Mm-hmm. However, if you look at the majority of history, if you just like ask somebody, Mandela died in prison. There was articles, and you can go back and check this. There's articles that would show Mandela died in prison, but yet all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, he's alive and well, and he's now doing his thing, right? He's, being super awesome ruler dude, making stuff better. But that's not what we remember it as. So there's other things where corresponding components would be, I think it was like the Ford logo. There's a slight variance from the original to now. And yet, if you like look up and it's like Ford logo and it's only what would be now and not from before. So to find that difference is very difficult. So that's the thing is Mandela effect is you of this current timeline has a different memory than what everyone else assumes or is under the assumption of as their history. So it gets into that question of alternate timeline, parallel universe, all that kind of stuff, and drawing it together. So the Mandela effect is being aware of things that should be but are completely different. It's like if all you ever knew was IHOP, and yet all of a sudden everything is just IHOB, and nobody knows the difference. And it's like, dude, it's always been burgers, right? Pancakes. They've never had pancakes. Did they ever have pancakes there? It's like, makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So it
makes you question like the most mundane thing.
Yeah, there's. I think there's a movie on it.
CAT.
Well, no, because it's literally
the Beatles one.
It's supposed to mess with your perception as far as your memory recall. Meaning that it causes you to question your own existence in this timeline. Do I recall correctly, or is my brain scattered somehow? And it gets you in this weird loop of extreme paranoia, basically.
What were you saying? If you went back in time to try and correct something in your past that you thought was troublesome, in an effort to improve your life later on, but then you come back and you like you come back to the same timeline, or do you come back to? You don't come back to the same reality. You come back.
Wasn't that what the movie Butterfly Effect was?
Well, I don't know if they went into it like that, but I mean, you come back to.
Yeah, no, it was.
Well, yeah, it was, but
because every time he went back,
you actually come back to a different metaverse, a different.
Well, yeah, that was exactly what Butterfly Effect was. Because every time he would recall a memory, he would go back to it, modify it, and
no, but then the memories would shoot into him at like lightning speed, right?
Well, yeah, he got like a new download as far as what that timeline was.
Every time he did this, every time he made a change, because it would actually change everything inside his brain.
Well, yeah, because now his brain would have to be structured as if it went through that timeline. So, I mean, yeah, it showed a physical representation of what it was.
Flashes of history that have changed, and
Well, so that goes back to that conversation of would you recall those memories? So, Back to the Future, Marty McFly comes back, sees photos on the foyer or in the dining room or in the wherever, and he's like, I don't recall going to Disney with all these. So would he or wouldn't he? So Butterfly Effect says yes. Back to the Future says, who knows? I mean, we're not offered knowledge or the perception of knowledge that he's aware. So my assumption is Back to the Future, he's not, whereas Butterfly Effect, he does.
Or like, I don't know. The whole concept of time travel is so messed up because you imagine like, okay, I jump out of time right now to go back, I don't know, let's say 3 years to fix a mistake that I made that was, had I not made this mistake, I could have landed an awesome job and like my whole life would have a different trajectory right now, whatever. Something like that, something life-changing. But then like, okay, you go back and you make that fix and then you go back to your regular time. Do you go back to a time like right after you left? Or do you go to a whole different metaverse?
Well, that's
where there's actually another you existing.
But that's what Back to the Future attempts to express as you going back in time and modifying an event would cause alternate timeline. So you would come, and that's the thing is with this is why we got to figure out how does the flux capacitor work.
How does that work?
Right? Because dude,
it's not just a series of light bulbs.
Well, because all right, so here's the thing.
Sorry, I don't have my engineering degree.
You know, so think about this: if the flux
capacitor,
if tequila and if the flux capacitor tears a hole in time on your timeline, if you were to go back in the past and modify something, it would technically create that timeline of that event modifying the future. So Butterfly Effect, right? However, does that flux capacitor cause you to come back to your timeline? Meaning that regardless of what event you modified in the past, you're still going to come back to where you were.
But no, because if you went...
Well, so that's the thing is, again, how does the flux capacitor work? Does it cause you to travel on the timeline in which you're a part of or the one that you come from? That's why I'm like, what does a flux capacitor do? Because think about that. So I
would think in the universe that it was created in, with the materials that it was made with, it would. That
but
would
I
be
don't know. That's
anchor.
Why I'm like,
These are all questions.
Correct. So think about that. So if it's literally the ability to create a wormhole within your timeline only, that means it doesn't matter what you do going back and forth or changing things in the past, because you're always still going to come back to your timeline where all of those events that happened the way history says it did happen, not the way you recall it that you were a part of. However, if the flux capacitor tears a wormhole, whatever you want to call it, the component that gets you to go in and out of time. All right. So now if it causes you to be a component of that literal line, then any and all things that you do to modify would cause you to be that outcome. So when you come back, it would be a part of that line, which I think that in and of itself.
The question is that really your line anymore?
Well, but so that's why I'm
So
like,
from this
well, this
day,
is where you get into like time loop issues or like not allowing things to exist when they should exist. So you can't have like two of you because that would cause like a weird, time loop paradox. Right? There was a movie that was about that.
Yeah, if you have knowledge of your own, if you have knowledge of your own time travel, so if you meet up with yourself, I mean, couldn't that really mess you up? And would that change your trajectory? Would you not have, like, would it cause a paradoxical situation? Like, and what would happen? Like, what happens when there's a paradox? When it's,
well, because that could
like,
be
do you just blip out of existence, or does it throw the whole game off?
Because, I mean, that could be an internal disruption in your system where your brain, like, literally overloads over the understanding of this. Because we were talking about...
Could I break the universe?
Well, because I think one of our conversations before was the fact that we as human creatures currently are cognizant of the ability to have space and time, yet we don't have the ability to truly perceive it, which is why we can't think outside of it in a sense, right? So like evolutionary wise, our bodies physically can't perceive the idea of space and time, even though our mind can literally wrap itself around it.
Our bodies can't, but what was the Joe Dispenza book that I was reading? Remember I was talking about that one?
Isn't Espinoza?
No, stop it. That one
she didn't even look up. She's like, no, bro.
That
bro.
one experience he had where he went back and he was able to view himself through his own kitchen window washing dishes.
Yeah, which I think is a great scenario.
So the question is, maybe you can time travel anytime you want, but you can't take your body. And you can make changes, but they're subtle. You know what I mean? It's more like you shout at yourself.
So, all right. So I think that goes to the idea of, like, I was just talking about the flux capacitor, if it keeps you on that timeline. So you can't remove yourself from the physical representation of it. So you can be, like you were saying, you can be aware and you can go in and out of it. But no matter what you do to change things, you're still always going to be on that timeline because that's it. Your physical representation is locked to it. Your consciousness is what can, like, flip-flop in a sense.
You would be there. It would be as if you didn't have your body because you would be there in a slightly different dimension.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
You could affect things because there's bleed over.
Like poltergeist style.
I mean, that's the way I'm thinking of it. Like, how do you...
It's like how you can get the knife to fall off the counter or something, or you get that tap on the shoulder, but there's nobody behind you.
Yeah, like there's subtle differences in the world because you're not really on the same...
Because I think he was looking out the window into nothing. It was like his backyard or whatever, but yet how somehow or another he felt or perceived that there was something there.
Like, what if I exist and I exist right in front of you like you see me now, but I exist in a totally different frequency?
Right, we've had
a frequency that you can't perceive with your senses.
We've talked. Yeah, go.
Am I really somewhere else, or am I just in another dimension?
Yeah, I'm just unperceivable by you.
It's a dimension you could replace with another reality.
Well, so the movie Constantine, and I think this really allows that to kind of cross over. So in Constantine, when you've crossed over, when you've had that near-death experience, but so you
become open.
You died, but come back. Now all of a sudden, you can see all these other spirits, the angels, the demons, everything,
because you carry around some death inside you.
Right, but you can
Is
now
that what
be
happened
aware
to me?
of it. Maybe.
Is that what happened to me?
No, bro, it's 66 times.
I was in hell, and
no,
then
you're just it's messed up. You scrambled it a few times. Ain't no excuse, bro. You just messed it up. Knocked that noggin a couple times.
Fell in my head a few times.
I know, right? I fell down, but I got up.
I don't know why I just talk like Bubba.
I don't know, stereotypes.
Fell on my head a few times.
Why you stereotyping, man? That's real judgy. Like, I mean, that's appropriate.
It's just the voice that can't. It's not. I'm not judging. I don't know, whatever. popcorn shrimp,
Dude.
shrimp kebabs.
No, dude, I was gonna one quote you, and I was trying to think of the movie to do, but go ahead. Forrest Gump. Don't think, speak.
Well, my favorite.
Yeah, dude, do it.
I'm real sorry about your roommate's robe.
Oh, dude. Oh.
Which is probably the one they take out when they play it on TBS or something. What?
Forrest Gump.
What?
Dude, I know which one she
Yeah.
Dude, as
yours.
soon as I heard she's like, I got one, I was like, I know which one she's thinking of. Yeah. Alabama.
I always thought that was the one that stuck with me the most. I thought it was the funniest. I'm real sorry about your roommate's robe.
See, and the one that sticks out to me is the one where he
All apathetic.
he comes off he jumps off his boat and like swims over to see Lieutenant Dan, and his boat like crashes into the dock. He's like, "That's my boat." It's just like, dude, how apropos is that statement right there and then? Like, that's so honest. But I mean, that's my thing. Like, all right, so Sherlock Holmes, because we had this conversation last week, actually.
We can't keep having the same conversation. All right, go on.
Dude, this is what this is.
Just
Dude,
goes on.
we have one conversation that just continues and becomes larger and engulfs more subjects, more ideas,
We're not
more
referencing
knowledge.
an old episode. We're referencing the show earlier. I mean, the
Dude,
conversation.
we're giving context to where we were at with what we were saying, so you can go back and pick it out. It's the
All right,
map.
I'm sorry.
You got to follow it. It's a weird. It's like the family circus where like the freaking the kid goes in and out like 70 things just to go 2 rooms away.
So where were you? You were.
Well, yeah. So going to my thing about quotes is I typically do that more obscure. Case in point, conversation last week where Vic brought up the idea. He's like, "Yo, you guys were saying this thing. I'm like off in my hole hiding, listening to you, and you make this reference of, oi, where does that come from?" And we go into the whole spiel. I was like, yeah, it's Sherlock Holmes, and that literally out of that entire movie is my favorite quote. Like that's my one.
The one from off in the back of the room.
Dude, you don't even see the guy. You just hear him in the background.
So as the tiny little Sherlock Holmes beats up on like this ginormous guy, that everybody's got bets on him.
He boot kicks to the chest, breaks his sternum or cracks a couple ribs, whatever, throws him through the one barrier wall. You get the literal, comical cartoon comic poof of dust that comes up from it. And you just like room just dead silence.
I don't know what style would you say it is that he uses in that?
His?
Because it's like he's slap boxing him, and it's freaking hilarious. Because half the time he's just using an open hand, but it's like where he's striking him, and like he's coming across pressure points or the side of his face or his neck.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But if you watch, like a lot of those strikes are completely open handed.
I mean, my guess would probably be something of like either karate or aikido.
Jiu-jitsu.
No, because jiu-jitsu would have been more counter with possibility of grappling. There was no grappling.
Well, not in that part, no.
Yeah, no, dude. There's never grappling. It's more of like almost like judo, where it's counter moves, taking your opponent's energy and swinging it back. But he doesn't do that. He literally pushes off and then strikes. So he doesn't even like take in. So it's not even that's why I'm like karate,
Scorpion style.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, that's what, yeah, a karate, aikido, something like that, where it's like block, counter move.
It's very
block,
straightforward, though. Whatever it is, it's very straightforward because it's almost like.
Oh, he knows what's coming. He can see it. And it's very much, what do you want to call it? It's like when adrenaline kicks in and everything slows down. Which, I mean, that's like, oh, man. So there's this movie about drifting. And to me and many others, it's the epitome of drifting. And it's called Initial D. And there's the one scene in the movie Long story short, this kid drives an AE86, which is a Toyota Corolla. But in Japan, an AE86 is like the ultimate drift car. You can take this thing, beef up the four banger, and make it like a 400 horsepower monster. And this car just wants to drift all day. Like it's just a drift car, straight out the box.
Compound tires and
Dude, it's balanced for it. It's built around it. I mean, Kenichi Teishu, he's like the drift king. It's like one of the originators. I've seen him drive an 86, and he's like, you know what I love about one of these things? He's like, you pretty much just leave it stomped, and it just does it. I love an 86. It's like this car just drifts. This is what it does. But there's a scene where the dad is talking to the kid, and the kid was basically expressing, he's like, yo, I think I need to go see like an eye doctor. And he's like, what? So he's all right, fine. So he takes the kid to the eye doctor, and the doctor's like, no, you got 20/20. Like everything's good. I don't understand what's going on. So he's like, what the hell, kid? What's wrong with you? He's like, yo, you just made me pay all these doctor bills. Like, and there's nothing wrong with your eyes. Like, what the hell? Why we do this? He's like, well, when I'm driving the car, things like slow down and stretch out. And so I thought there was something wrong with my eyes.
that's adrenaline, son.
And basically that's what it is. Your timing or your perception of timing is elongated so much that it truly gives you a much greater ability to express action.
Powerful a drug that adrenaline is, and it's made within the human body.
Dude, I just got freaking the scene from Pulp Fiction. He pounds it into her chest.
Oh,
Uma Thurman just pops.
Yeah. No, but think about it. I mean, give yourself a shot of adrenaline. I mean, it's happened, well, pretty much happens anytime I get pulled over, which doesn't happen that often, but you know what I'm talking about. You get, because you can't run.
Dude, I'll be honest. So,
and it seems like they're waiting in their car for 45 minutes while they're looking your stuff up. I mean, it's really like 15, but.
So the last time I can recall count wise of how many times I've been pulled over where I'm literally just like, you know, whatever. And I've kind of forgotten about it and I've been pulled over since then. But so I was 20 years old and I had already been pulled over 35 times.
That's probably not good.
So how many tickets had I had by that point?
Am I supposed to guess?
Yes.
Out of 30?
35.
35.
Go ahead, dude. This is.
Well, I'm guessing. I'm guessing less than a dozen. 2.
Yeah. I feel like you got out of a lot of it.
None.
Big fat goose egg.
Out of 35.
On the 35th.
Oh, you got one.
Is the one. And so here's the thing, though. When I got that ticket on my 35th, I told the cops to give it to me. It was the day I was having. Cop pulled me over and he's like, dude, I was like, dude, here's my information. I know why you did it. Go ahead. Just write me the ticket. He's like, well, I'm like, dude, just, he's like, okay. And like walks away. Dude, I was like, dude, just write me the ticket, bro. I don't even want to deal with this crap.
Really?
Wait, one, I deserved it. Oh, I totally deserved it. I saw the headlights. I knew where he was sitting.
You know, like, you just point your wrists out the window, like, go ahead.
I owned it. Well, because I mean, and honestly, yeah, at this point, I've been pulled over 35 times, so it's just like, F it. Just go ahead. I'm not gonna, you know.
You got me.
Yeah, but dude, oh man,
you got me.
Well, I had a good run.
Well, because growing up, so my dad was in the military. So growing up, I had military ID. So anytime I got pulled over, I would wait for the officer to come to the window and I would pull my ID out of my wallet. Well, behind my driver's license was my military ID. And I also had base stickers on my car so I can get, you know, in and out of base without, you know, you just pull up and just put your hold your ID up to the window. They're like, go ahead. They don't even care. Because you got your base stickers and stuff. So you're permitted, you're done, whatever. So when I would get pulled over, the officer would see that. They're like, look to see your inspection stickers. And they're like, all right. And right underneath of them was my base stickers. Watch me pull my license out and there's my military ID. And it's just like, all right. So and then it's just like instant guaranteed not getting the ticket.
I don't know about guaranteed, but
dude, 34 times. And the 35th time, I told the cop to give me the ticket. I'm just saying.
That's pretty well guaranteed. Yeah.
I'm just saying there's a certain level of ability here. And the consistency was.
I'm not sure that's altogether right. That's not fair.
Dude, I didn't say it was right. There was no
saying,
statement of morality in this. I'm just a moment of honesty.
No, and this is just where I'm coming, from. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you're in a military family or you're the child of a police officer or you are a police officer, it's like,
do I guarantee
in
I'm not
some
the only
instances
one?
you're above the law?
No, it's
I'm
not
not sure
above
that's
the law.
entirely right. I don't think that's the way it works.
It's not that I felt that I was above the law.
Worked.
It was always the fact that I was just like, you know what? I have this at my faculty. This is in my disposal for use. If it worked, thank you. If it didn't, hey, cool, you know what? I messed up. I get it.
Obviously, you're respectful. I mean,
Well, of course. I also speak appropriately.
put
Like,
forth like a good, you're not.
yeah, dude, I'll be all right. So,
what the did I do? What? Why'd you what?
So, pull over 28.
I hate cops. What the hell?
Dude, no, this is no joke. Pull over 28. Dude, I remember this one very well. I was doing 50 and a 35. It was raining. But now also you got to remember something. This is also going back like 30 freaking years almost, right? Like, dude, this is back when I was a kid. I'm like 18.
There are
19.
a lot more liberties than,
But there was also a lot less people, traffic, etc. So slightly different context. But I'm doing 50 and a 35. Cop pulls me over in the rain. And it's not just like, drip, 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 drip. It's like it's pouring.
You can't even hear.
It's almost like sideways. Yeah, right. And the cop, he on same spiel, sees my stickers. I pull up my ID, and he's just like, "Well, I've already pulled one car out of this field tonight, and I don't feel like doing two. So maybe next time." I was just like, "Yes, sir, absolutely. I thank you very much." Dude,
Thanks for looking out for me, man.
yeah. So I mean, even in like horrid, but. Again, but dude, also think about this. We, at that age, we would get pulled over if we had alcohol on us. What was the worst case? They were going to make us pour us out, just blah blah blah. Watch us do it. Come on, right?
If you get caught in your small town, yeah.
Oh, we're over.
If you get caught in your small town, yeah,
we got to wrap it up.
All right, man. Well, it's been real. That's as usual.
This moment of honesty has been brought to you by,
as usual, when we get right into it again.
Yeah, that's a good thing. This is a facsimile and not an actual representation. I can neither confirm nor deny. Redacted.
Well, this is a tribute. Is that what you're saying?
This is just a tribute. Yeah, this is a tribute to I'm Telling You.
I can't remember the lyrics to the actual song, but this is just a tribute.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway,
this is I'm Telling You with Philly D
and Mr. Gemini,
Miss JD.
Yeah, if you want to reach out, ity@directionmusic.org, Gemini or Philly D at directionmusic.org. Yeah, and as always, we want to say thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, be good to yourself. Be good to everyone else.
Much love.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.